Hi there, folks. Welcome to episode 44 of Finding Your Hidden Superpower Autism, Asperger's, and those of us who are neurodiverse. So today I'm going to get to number 6 of the Autism Revelations of 2022. So many people who are on the higher end socially of the autism spectrum, able to have special powers. We are innovators. Many people who have this condition are innovative. Now, what does that mean? What that means is we can invent things. We can see things that other people can't. Um, One of the problems is that people and companies that are innovators and start the ball rolling, um, a lot of the times because they can't adjust to other people not understanding what they see clearly. A lot of the times they fall by the wayside because they've invented the idea, but they don't know how to market the idea. So if one Achilles heel to the innovation mindset is that getting frustrated by people not understanding. So, what you have to do, for instance, there's an indication that many inventors, Da Vinci, Edison, and many others, were through interviews and through biographies, they were probably autistic. And they like to be alone, they like to invent, and they constantly invented. So, what I was listening to earlier was this one scientist talking about there's as far as innovation goes, a lot of the times what's happening with repetitive motions that seem strange to others is that the person is trying to figure out the operations and trying to understand how the how what they're fascinated about works. So then they start doing this repetitive behavior. But a lot of the times, what that is, even though they can't express it as well as they should, is that they're trying to experiment and they are not understanding that other people have to go about their lives and that they aren't the person that's causing this repetitive motion and repetitive movements and repetitive experimentations are not understanding that they aren't the only ones in the world. And so they can, a lot of miscommunication and social cues and social problems can pop up because people are focused to the point of obsession on figuring out this one problem. Whereas if they were to set up their own experiment and build the experiment instead of just trying to do an experiment and not worrying about the consequences of the social aspects of that, um, then the person is going to have a lot of social problems. So if you just back up, you look at what you see that's obvious that other people don't. So, for instance, with the success of my YouTube channel, it's not successful. I'm only getting maybe 10 or 15 people watching, and they're not watching for all that long. So, as far as the social aspects of this channel, I'm more focusing in on understanding uh, my own problems and just putting this out there as a social experiment. So I'm not looking to make money from this. I'm not getting frustrated because people are not watching because the YouTube algorithm is different than what I'm doing. And that's just the way it is. So instead of getting frustrated, by not understanding why my message is not getting out there. I have to switch up and understand the operations better and work on doing my own thing. And so, with you, if you are innovative and you're figuring things out, um, don't be frustrated if those around you don't get it. And so you'll just have to keep on working on it, and then you'll have to figure out an application for it, because that's the bottom line. Is if you see a problem and then you're working through the operations in order to solve that problem, and if you solve that problem but there isn't necessarily a mainstream application for that problem to be solved, then you're going to have to wait around until people see the value of your solution, in which they may have not just not caught up yet. So, for instance, with these, going back to the subject of these videos, a lot of the most successful people talking about autism on YouTube, what I see is what they're doing is they're talking about how people are seeing themselves as victims and being prosecuted, and they're not being able to be the people that they want to be, and they're not being accepted by society. But the whole thing is that innovators have never been accepted by society, um, because they're seeing problems, they're seeing something going on in society that other people don't acknowledge, haven't figured out yet. So, you know, they're going to be looked at as being strange. That's just the way things work. Um, that's the way culture is. Is culture, you know, the internet was around a long time before it it took over. Once Google grabbed hold of it, and then it started becoming mainstream. Computers have been around since the 80s, but the only um, people that had computers in the 80s were total geeks. So, um, and now everybody has a computer in their phone, and it's the most addicting technology ever made. And but if you're around in the 80s, people would make fun of you if you owned a computer. So it can take a while for your ideas, for your innovative solutions to come to fruition. So what you need to do is slow your roll, realize that people haven't caught up to you, and work on the marketing idea about how can you apply your solution to other people's problems. Do they have that problem, or what subset of people have that problem? And then you talk to them about it, and then you find out whether it's of value, because you may have to change either the way it's being marketed, or you may have to change the application. You may have to look for a certain subset of people that are interested in having, because not necessarily everybody has that problem. So you may have just noticed something that isn't that common for most people, but you'll never know until you try it. And be careful about the frustration. So, innovation, pattern recognition, and those are my two. So that would be kind of like 6 and 5. Um, so, revelations of 2022. Have a great day.